What's up everyone, Andrew Baena here, and on today's video I'm going to go through 5 of the first guitar riffs that I ever learned on guitar. This is going to make me feel old as fuck because I learned most of these when I was like 13 years old, which unfortunately was a really long time ago. So I started playing guitar in the first year of high school, so a lot of these riffs were learned on this really crappy, cheap Stratocaster knockoff that my parents got me for Christmas, or at my friend's house on his guitar. So basically, I picked 5 of the riffs that I remember the most vividly, just from playing them from when I was a kid and what stuck with me over all these years. I did have to relearn some of them because I don't play them anymore, but regardless, these are the ones that stuck out to me when I was trying to think of what I used to play. So the very first riff that I'm going to talk about is the first riff I ever learned on guitar, of course, and it might come as a little bit of a surprise to you guys, but it was actually Aerials by System of a Down. Maybe that's why I'm so obsessed with downtuning, because the first song I ever learned was in drop C, which I know is kind of weird, but I went over to one of my friend's houses in high school and he had a guitar, and he is the one who got me into metal in the first place. So, you know, he was showing me all the new metal bands back in the day, like Linkin Park and System of a Down, Slipknot, all that great stuff. And he had a guitar lying around, so he showed me a really easy riff to play, which just so happened to be the outro riff to Aerials by System of a Down. It's something that has always stuck with me to this day, obviously because it is the first thing I ever learned on guitar. It's incredibly simple, and this is how it sounds. The next riff that I want to talk about is, I'm pretty sure this is the second riff I ever learned. It's definitely the first Linkin Park guitar riff that I ever learned. So the first band that I was ever truly obsessed with ever in my life was Linkin Park. The first CD I got for Christmas from one of my aunts and uncles who gave me Linkin Park's Meteora CD, and I was obsessed with that band pretty much all throughout high school. And the first riff that I ever learned by Linkin Park was the main riff from their song called A Place for My Head. This song is in drop C sharp. I'm going to play that riff for you right now, so here's how it sounds. The next riff I want to talk about isn't really a riff, but it's actually a bass line. So I'm not really sure why I decided to learn this, because there is guitar in this song, but I've thought that the bass line was so cool that I had to learn it. Once again, maybe that's why I'm so obsessed with tuning so low, I'm not really sure. But this song is not metal at all. There was a song that was really popular when I was 13 years old, which is called Feel Good Inc. by the Gorillaz, and there's just this bass line that goes throughout the entire song. And I don't know why, but I thought it was so cool at the time. So I learned how to play it on guitar instead of bass because I obviously didn't have a bass guitar. So this one is in E standard tuning. I actually don't own any guitars, or any 6-string guitars I should say, that are in E standard tuning. So I'm actually going to be playing this on a 7-string guitar and just ignoring the low 7th string. So here's what that bass line sounds like as a guitar riff, basically. The next riff I'm going to show you guys is a pretty standard one that I think most guitarists will know. It is called Crazy Train by Ozzy Osbourne. Pretty standard, pretty classic, but I remember that this was so difficult to learn for some reason when I first started taking guitar lessons when I was really young. And I remember going to guitar lessons every week and practicing this at home just to get it perfect. And for some reason this riff just really stuck with me. I haven't played it in a really long time, so I actually had to go and relearn it. Once again, it's an E standard, so I'm going to be playing it on a 7-string and ignoring the low B string. Here's how it sounds. And the final riff I want to talk about isn't really a riff at all, but it's actually a guitar solo. So this was the first guitar solo that I ever learned in my entire life, which is why it was so memorable. So there's kind of a funny story to this. My younger brother actually started learning how to play guitar before me. So my parents bought him for Christmas the official guitar tab book for American Idiot by Green Day. Which obviously, you know, being a 12 or 13-year-old kid, I was super down with Green Day at the time. I really don't like them at all anymore, but at the time I thought they were awesome. And you know, there was a guitar solo in one of the songs, so I thought I would try and learn it. Obviously it's incredibly easy, so that was lucky for me, and honestly my guitar solo skills have not progressed much since then, as I clearly do not play leads very often, and I'm mostly focused on the riff. But regardless, I thought it would be an interesting addition to put into this list. So here's what the guitar solo from Green Day's song titled Holiday sounds like. Alright guys, so there you have it. I tried to keep this list a little more interesting and only show off riffs that were not the typical, like, you know, Smoke on the Water or Iron Man or whatever. I know Crazy Train is pretty standard, but the rest of them I felt were a little more unique to me, so I thought it might make for a more interesting video. If you're a guitar player, let me know in the comments what the first guitar riff you learned was, or if you have any memorable riffs from your childhood that you still go back to nowadays. I'd love to hear what those are. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If this is the first time you're seeing one of my videos, or you haven't subscribed yet for some reason, please do hit that subscribe button. It helps me out a lot, and I'm very, very close to reaching my year-end goal of 100,000 subscribers. I'm also going to be giving away a guitar at 100,000 subscribers, so definitely stay tuned for that. Once again, thank you guys for watching, and I look forward to reading your comments.